record right here. There we go. Okay, we are officially recording, and hopefully it'll behave. Again, this is my second time, not first time. This is my second time using Zoom on my phone. So I'm still a phone Zoom virgin. So I apologize if I come off a video or if I do something funky like I did the last time. I'm going to try to keep this on topic because, as you may know, once I start talking, I talk. And I started to get off topic. So I'm going to try to stay on topic today as much as possible. But I wanted this to be like a sort of like a relaxed discussion and just, say hello to each one of you. Talk to you about what your level of idea of success is and what you're trying to manifest into your life. So I guess I'll start with the question, how does manifesting work in your life? Do you have a good relationship with manifesting your desires into your life? And go ahead and just answer. We'll start with whoever wants to answer first, and we'll talk about it from there. Anybody?
Seems like a lot of people have their voice off on the Zoom.
Yeah, if you do not know how to use Zoom, depending on the device that you use, it's either going to be at the top or the bottom. You can just click the screen or use your mouse to hover at the top or the bottom. And there should be an audio button there. You should see audio or video. If you want to come on video, you can. I do know that when we do the recording that your videos, like my video will pop up, but your video will not when we do the playback. Your audio, however, will. Okay, so if you are not wanting to be heard on video, because I am going to share some of this because I think it's an important thing to share, and I would love to get more folks into the Inner Goddess Success Synergist. So I would like to, use this video to sort of let people know what we're going to be doing in that group. So if you do not want to be heard on voice, you can actually click or hover your mouse over the More button or the Participants button, and you can see the chat from there, okay? And I'll try to pay attention to the chat as I'm doing this. But I did post a little hello there, so if you just want to either depending on your device, either the More button or the Participants button. From my phone, it's actually going to be the Participants button. So if you're on an Android and you're on the phone, you might get it from the Participants button, okay? Okay, and Tracy found it. She says, hello. Hello, darling. Okay, so we're talking about our manifesting buttons. Is your manifesting button broken or not?
At times I feel like it is, yes.
In who?
Yes.
It's Melody.
Okay. So one of the things about the law of polarity or about the law of attraction, let's just start with this. My life's work has always been on the law of polarity. The law of polarity has always been about balance for me. And finding spiritual balance has always been a very important aspect in my growth and helping others find their growth. The law of polarity says that for everything, there is its equal opposite, right? So one of the things that I've discovered this year is that the law of polarity can help us in a great way to finding balance in our lives and finding spiritual balance in our lives. But one of the things it can also do is help us to find that balance in attracting our desires and manifesting our desires. Now, for the law of attraction says for every like. Okay, the law of attraction says like attracts like, right? So we know that like thoughts will attract like results. And for many people, this is where it stops. People say, oh, okay, my thoughts become things. So I can go in, I can think a thought, and it can attract into my life, and they find some success with it. But others, they do the same kind of work. They get into the like attracts like, and then for some reason, the opposite attracts. And for me, this was a huge basis for me. This was a huge basis for me. I got into Abraham Hicks for a while there, for a long time there, and I absolutely still love Abraham Hicks. And one of the things that that helped me with this opposite kind of thing attraction, like if I was trying to attract, $500, I would see like coupons come in the mail for $500, and I'd be like, well, that's not what I really meant. And then there was this whole thing about driftwood. Abraham Hicks came on and started talking about those being actual driftwood moments. And what driftwood moments are is when you're out to sea and you are lost out into sea and you're trying to find land and you see a piece of driftwood. That means that you're actually close to land. And so I began to adopt the idea that when I was manifesting, let's say $500, and a $500 coupon came in the mail, that it wasn't necessarily that I wasn't manifesting correctly, but that was actually a driftwood moment for me. It was telling me that my manifestation principles were getting close, that I was very close to manifesting. There is a group that I'm in. It's called the Spiritual Badass Boss Lady. Amanda Francis actually holds that group, and she's actually pretty incredible coach. So I'm going to quote something she said the other day that like stuck on me like glue. Because when I'm trying to manifest something, I was trying to manifest something and it wasn't coming to fruition. It didn't feel like it was coming to fruition. And she basically said that when you're manifesting something, you have faith and belief that it's going to come true, because that's what having faith is all about. That is what's having faith. That's what it's all about. Having faith when it doesn't feel like it's going to come true. And not losing your cool at that moment, right? And so that stuck on me like glue. But then here's this whole thing about polarity. Polarity says kind of the opposite thing that law of attraction says. Law of attraction says for every like thought, there is a like result. The law of polarity says that opposites attract. Okay. And so when we start thinking about that in terms of, and Alexa, you'll appreciate this because I'm going to talk about relationships for a minute. When you start talking about that in terms of relationships, we think about the law of polarity. For every one thing, there is its equal opposite. The law of polarity is about supply and demand. It's about having a need and having fulfillment, having wholeness, having completion, right? And so when we start thinking about like this in a relationship factor, and I'm using relationships because I think this is going to be the easiest to understand. We have an attraction to those who are opposite of us. So if you are a very feminine energy, you may be very attracted to a masculine energy, right? So we sort of get the law of polarity when we start talking about relationships. I'm attracted, and that attraction comes from a need for completion, a need for wholeness. Okay, it's a need for wholeness. And so that attraction comes from a need of, I have a feminine energy, I want to bring masculine energy into my life. We may understand that on a very subconscious level, maybe not so much on a conscious level. But then, sorry, my cat is playing with me every time I use my hands, she's like tapping me. But then, like a law of attraction says, for every like thoughts attract. Like thoughts attract. So when we're desiring a relationship, we first have that need for completion. So we have that attraction to an opposite a feeling for us. So if you're more feminine, you may be looking for more of a masculine type of energy. And so that attraction builds. That is a form of energy and magnetism. Okay. Now, when law of attraction comes in, law of attraction says that the like comes from a thought or a consciousness, an intelligence basis. And so let's say that you are, you're looking for this relationship. You got this major attraction, I don't know, to this, really masculine kind of dude. And then what do? You try to find similar interest, right? So you build upon similar interest in order to make that relationship come alive, or in order to make that attraction happen. So when we are developing our relationships with people, we are both using the law of polarity and the law of attraction. The law of polarity comes from an energy, and the law of attraction comes from a thought process, a level of consciousness. Thoughts become things. So I have to find a similar interest. Maybe the two of you like sailing. And so you start building and talking about sailing, and then that interest grows because you have a like thought principle. But it all starts with the attraction to the need. You see? And so for some people who can use the law of attraction like that, they manifest things in very easily. They already have maybe a very base understanding of how the law of polarity works. So I've been using the law of polarity in different ways in my life in talking about the law of attraction. So if I get a major bill in the mail, like, okay, so I just got this huge medical bill in the mail. It was huge, right? And when I first saw it, I sort of choked on it. I was like, oh, God. And I thought, no, this is need fulfillment. This is need fulfillment. This is law of polarity in action, okay? And so from now on, when I get the bill, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to show gratitude for the service, because thank goodness that medical service was there, because hey, it's made me healthy. So I've just picked up my vibration. My vibration is good. My everything is working well. And then I said, okay, so I know the need fulfillment. Wherever there's a buyer, there's a seller. Wherever, you think about real estate, you have buyer's agents, you have seller's agents. Wherever there's a buyer, there's a seller. So I know that if I have a massive bill coming in the mail, that my need fulfillment is going to say, hey, if you have that need to be fulfilled, then the money is going to come. Okay? Law of polarity tells me that, because I have need fulfillment. But I also have to do one more step. And that step is to find similar interest related to that money. And this is where I think when we say our manifesting buttons are broken, this is where I think it gets broken. Okay? Because let's say the bill is $5,000. And it's much more than that. But let's say the bill is $5,000. Okay? And my very first thought is, oh my gosh, $5,000. Okay, law of polarity says where there's needs and fulfillment. So I know that if there is an outgoing for $5,000, I know that something can income for $5,000. Now, law of attraction says my thoughts become things. So I can write down the intention and say, hey, yes, I'm manifesting in this $5,000. This is my desire. This is what I want. I'm in line with it. I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to show gratitude and, for fulfillment of this $5,000. But then if I said, okay, I know that I have, in order to be a match to that $5,000, I have to find a similar interest to that $5,000. And so this is where we can say, what good can $5,000 bring? What does $5,000 bring that interests me? Am I somebody who likes to see people happy? $5,000 can, buy a decent used car. So $5,000 can produce good movement. What good can $5,000 do? So I have to attach, am I making sense? I have to attach what interests me deep at the core to what $5,000 can do. So if $5,000 can, buy a good used car, then I have to see, I like to see movement in my life. I enjoy the movement in my life. and I know that $5,000 can buy a good used car. There you go. Okay, instead of saying, oh, $5,000 is so hard to reach. It's going to be hard to manifest in. That's a large sum of money. You can go down the road and you can see beautiful homes. You can see successful businesses. You can see examples of how there is enough $5,000 in the world. Here's a fact. I just want to place a little fact here and implement inside your brains, okay? Because subconsciously we get on the news, we see examples of things in life that say things like people are in need, people are poor, people are hungry, people need medical care. It's all over the news. It's everything you read. It's everywhere you go. The real truth of the fact is that there's so much money in this world. There is so much money in this world that it can make each one of us, every single person in this world, abundantly wealthy. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. That's not a story. That's a fact. There is so much money in this world that it can make every single person abundantly wealthy. And so when we start telling our polarity facts, and we start lining up with the polarity of interest. My interest is, I'm going to find a common interest with this $5,000 instead of finding a common, what's the word I'm looking for? Disassociation with $5,000. I don't have $5,000, so I feel disconnected to $5,000. $5,000 seems like a lot of money, so I'm going to find things that I enjoy, things that interest me, that $5,000 can buy. And boom, I've lined up my interest. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you trying to manifest in your lives? Money, relationships, businesses, careers, happiness? Business. What about you guys? The rest of you? Money, friends, loved ones, partners, happiness? What are you trying to line up?
Going back to school.
Going back to school. Okay. Okay. So what's stopping you from going back to school?
Student loan.
What is it?
Student loan.
So money.
Yep.
Okay. So so it's boiling down to money. Okay. So then you need the money to go to school. So what you need to do is you need to say, okay, how much money is it going to take to go back to school? And how can I line myself up with the interest of what that money can provide? So when you think about money, when you start manifesting money, we often will say, I am manifesting financial abundance and wealth. Right? Financial abundance and wealth. I want you just to think about this for a minute and just say it inside your head and then fill your heart. I'm manifesting money. I'm manifesting money. What does that feel like?
Stress relief.
Yeah, I mean, the word money, when we hear the word money and we use pretty words like abundance and wealth to sort of mask the fear of actually, when we don't tell the universe exactly what we want and why we want it, it sort of gets confused. So financial abundance could be that you receive a lot of damn coupons in the mail. Yes?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be saving a lot of money. Abundance could mean is that you have all these loans and you have to pay them back. Right?
Yeah.
But what you're really trying to manifest is money. You need money. And so there's a dissociation from money. So you need to ask yourself, based on the law of attraction, Am I not finding my interest similar to money? Or am I disassociating myself from money? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So so we can use this little this little formula. We can use this little formula to start attracting in those desires that we need. And it can apply to not just money. It can apply to relationships. It can apply to health. It can apply to friendships, not just romantic relationships, but even friendships. It can apply to our business and our careers. But we have to first get clear on exactly what we want. We have to be clear on exactly what we want. And then we have to write down, my need is this. This is my need. Law of polarity tells me that there is always need fulfillment. So if I have a need, the law of polarity says that it can be fulfilled, because money is the pole. So you can have a lack of money, or you can have an abundance of money. You see, money is the thing that will have its equal and its opposite. Love is this thing that will have its equal and its opposite. You can have love and have an abundance of love, or you can have a lack of love. You can have health, you can have a lack of health, or you can have a abundance of health. There's a lot of different things that you can have an abundance in. So when we say, I want to be abundant, I just want to be abundant, well, then you might start bringing in some more friendships. So you got to first be clear. What is the goal that I'm trying to achieve? Business. Does that mean that I want more clients? More clients in line with myself? So clients are the pole. Paying clients are the pole. You see, the paying clients are the pole. Clients who want to pay me are the pole. And so you can have a lack of it, or you can have an abundance of it. And so when we identify the right pole of our desires, we can see that there is an opposite for each pole. Write them down. Write them down. What does an abundance of clients who want to pay me look like? What does the lack look like? Okay? And then we can take the law of attraction and we can identify the interest to the lack side of the pole. So if I can develop interest around the lack side of the pole, then my subconscious mind begins to see the fulfillment. So basically, we want to tell our lack stories. We want to give the lack another story. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So just like that, hot guy or that hot girl that you're trying to get with, if this person, it says, they're totally into baseball for instance, and you've got a polar attraction to them, you're going to probably want to learn a little bit more about baseball, because she's going to want to have something to talk about. You want to have some interest. You might even watch a few games. Try to learn it. When Brian and I were dating, I knew nothing about fishing. I could care less about throwing a fishing pole in the water, but he had such a love and flair for fishing that I was like, okay, well, I'll try it. I'll learn it. We have something to talk about. And now we have a common interest, fishing. And we talk about it, and I like it. So there may be things that you have to learn about to get your interest level to meet that lack. Does that make sense?
I did the same thing with Justin. I knew nothing about football.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to actually like watching the games with him.
Yeah. So I mean, you've developed an interest. You learned about it first, and you
Yeah.
developed an interest. And so when we start really getting clear on identifying the pull, so it's not just business we're trying to manifest. It's clients who want to pay me. It's not just school we're trying to manifest. It's money that we can obtain for school. Okay. Because
Yeah.
school is easy. If there was no money was the issue, you'd probably be there right now, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we got to identify the right pole. And the pole is that because you don't want to hide away from, you do not want to hide away from the real desire, the real need. Because need will equal fulfillment based on the law of polarity. Does everyone understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Simple formula. So I'm going to leave you with that today. I'm just going to leave you with that thought today. So let's identify our poles, and let's write down the abundance factor, write down the lack factors, and then write down the law of attraction says interest equal attraction. Write down how we can find interest identified with the lack side of the pole. And that will change the dynamic on the law of attraction. Okay. From now on, when you start getting a bill in the mail, or you get something in the mail that feels like, you get a bill, or there's your car breaks down, or, oh, there's extra money on the house insurance, all those kind of things that come unexpected. Then you sit down and you say, you know what? I'm so thankful for this bill because it is completing a need that I have, and I know that since I have this money that needs to come out, that the fulfillment is going to be there, it's going to come in. We need to change our thought processes. Okay? And whatever amount of money that is, ask yourself, what common interest do I have attached to that amount of money? How am I an interesting match to that money? And there's your law of attraction principle. Okay. When I was a little girl, I'm going to tell you a little story. I started the Inner Goddess Success Synergist probably at the wrong time. I got an inspiring idea from my guys. I said, I'm going to start this group. And of course, there was the retreat. And then there was Ann coming in. And so I've been so crazy. I've not been able to really concentrate my time on it. But a synergist is a leadership style that says, I want to use group activities and people coming together as teams to get to a level of success. They have synergists come into corporate world, and they team people up. They team people up to get to a common goal. And so that's my intention of this group, is to team us up and help us build each other up, push each other forward, open up discussions, talk about, things raw. Let's be raw and authentic and real, and let's help one another. I do want the group to grow a little bit, but I'm not interested in its growth more than anything. I do like the reason why I started a new group is because the Spirit Garden got kind of big. And when it got big, it lost its intimate kind of feel. So I want to get to know you guys very intimately, and let's just team up and help each other. And I might even do some little activities and some little challenges that will team us up. Okay, so those who are interested in the challenges and go forward, I'll do little teams, because that's what a synergist does. It uses team efforts to get to a common goal. And we all want success. Your success might be in your business, it might be in your relationships, it might be in your health, but we all want to achieve a level of success. And so that's the common goal. When I was a little girl and I was totally inundated with spirit, it was just a part of my natural flow of life. I used to talk to spirits all the time, thought everyone could do it. They'd come in the bathroom with me. I just tell them they couldn't come in the bathroom. They'd go to sleep with me at night. I had all kinds of imaginary friends. One of the things that happened is that my mother married a man who adopted me. And my name, I was born with the name Dawn. My mother gave me the name Dawn. And my mother married this man who also had a daughter named Dawn, who was only a year older than me. So we'd be going to the same school. And so when I got his last name, her and I shared the same name. So there was two Dawn Rinos living in the house, going to the same school, and she felt a year, so we were in the same grade. So it was very, very confusing. And then one day when I was little, I went on my little adventure, which is astral travel, which I know now to be astral travel. But I went on my little adventure, and I had a spirit guide look at me and say, "You are Aaliyah. Your name is Aaliyah." And so I adopted that name for myself in school because I wanted to have an identity separate from her. And so I was Aaliyah. And when I got older and I started doing this work, one of the things that I needed to achieve was a spiritual balance. And before I understood what the universal law of polarity was, I was trying to balance my physical life and my spiritual life together. And I went into meditation because I stopped using the name like after the 5th grade. I completely forgot about it. But when I went into meditation, I had the memory of me being a little girl and that woman coming forward, she said, "You are Aaliyah." And I said, "Oh, I need to bring that spiritual name and that physical name into balance." And that is how Aaliyah Dawn got created. So Aaliyah Dawn is, Aaliyah is my spiritual name and Dawn is my physical name. And it was to bring spiritual balance into my physical life and to bring spiritual balance into my business so that I could achieve both. I wanted to have a spiritual foundation and a physical life foundation at the same time. And I didn't want to get too woo-woo, and I didn't want to get too far away from the spiritual. So that's how Aaliyah Dawn got created. And that's before I even knew that the universal law of polarity existed. And so from there, I was always trying to achieve the balance. And then I found the universal laws and started getting into them, and polarity became my biggest tool. I think in order to understand any of the universal laws, we need to understand the universal law of polarity. It is the most important law because it tells you that for everything there is its equal opposite. And for everything that you need, there is fulfillment. For where there is a night sky, there is a day sky. But it's still a sky, but it's a day sky or a night sky, but it's still a sky. When the light can be on or it can be off, but it's still a light, it's on or off. It can be male, it can be female. Still a person, you can be male or female. But there's always balance. And when we have attractions to things and we have the need for the opposite attraction, that's law of polarity at work. Okay? So whenever you find a need, whenever you feel a need, understand that it's law of polarity in action. Okay? And whenever you find a common interest, that's the law of attraction in action. So you need to identify your polarities for your needs, understand them, understand you're not hopeless because of them, and then the law of attraction can come in and work. Okay? Does anybody want to share anything about their journeys or about who they are before we go? Any questions you may have?
I think this is good. I just want to play with this with where I am with my business.
I think I'm going to do some challenges this week to play with it a little bit. And I'll do it right there in the group. I'll just post some challenges if you guys want. We'll do some fun little challenges using this principle and just see how it comes about. Again, I'd love for you guys to share your results or share your thoughts, share your fears, okay, so that we can come together and help one another, okay? But I think I am. I'm coming up with challenges right now in my head. So I think we'll just sort of let this sink in, and then I'll start opening up challenges and try to get everybody involved. Okay? So if you guys have any thoughts related to this, or if you want to share anything related to this, if you have a success related to it or an aha moment, aha moments are my favorite because that means you understand something personally for yourself. Maybe you took it to the next level and meditated on it, which is really great. If I can get all of you meditating every day, I would be really super happy. So take this idea, meditate on it, sit on it, let me know what you think, and then I'll post a challenge. I'm going to put it together and then get challenges going in the group, okay? And we'll leave it there. Thank you all. I hope
Thank
this was helpful.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, again, if you have, I'm going to check the chat button really quick. Okay. All right, so I am seeing some chat before I go. Okay, I told you, I'm totally bad on this whole phone thing. Love, life, beneficial friendships, finding a new house, confidence, clarity to establish a business, to improve finances, to bring more happiness. Okay, Nicole, do you know what business you are trying to establish? Finding a new flat as everything will fall into place. At the moment, my flat is dragging me down. So, Tracy, is it money that's an issue for you in finding a new house?
It's more of a fact that I'm on the transfer list, and it's just the waiting game that's getting to me a wee bit, or just a little bit.
Well, maybe the waiting game. Sometimes we think that things have to manifest immediately, but maybe the waiting game is there for you. Maybe there's purpose behind it, because what if you found something now that wasn't a good match for you, right? What if something came up because you wanted it right now, right this moment, and it wasn't a good match for you, and the universe said, oh, you know what, Tracy, let's hold off a little bit. Let's just wait a minute because something perfect in alignment is coming for you, and you may not realize it. Okay, so be thankful for the wait. What I want you to do is I want you to be very, very grateful for the wait. I'm so thankful for the wait because I know that the universe is intending something really wonderful to come into my life. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
While Polarity says I have a need and fulfillment, so I'm going to find the right match for me. I'm going to find the right match for me. Okay? And so when you put up flat, your pole is not just a flat or an apartment. Your pole is an environment that feels good for me. Okay, so a house that feels good for me, an apartment that feels good to me, not just an apartment, but an apartment that feels really good to me. Okay, and so an abundance of that, what would that look like? And what would a lack of that look like? And then find the common interest. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Confidence and clarity to establish a business, to improve finances, to bring more happiness. All right. So what you're trying to bring forward, Nicole, if you're still with me, you are. What you're trying to find is the confidence and clarity, right? Do you know what business you're looking to do? Nicole. Nicole, are you still with me? All right, Talisa, you said love, life, beneficial friendships. So you're trying to manifest in relationships. Are you with me still? I don't see Talisa here. Okay. My internet is very jarred. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm not seeing Nicole's response. I'm not seeing Talisa's response. So I'm going to ask you guys just to post it in the room. We can talk about it, okay? All right. Tracy, Nicole, Melanie. All right. So I don't see any other chats here. It's okay, Morgan. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. All right, guys. So I will leave it there. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this was beneficial to you. Again, I'm going to open up some challenges for this, and we'll go from there. All right. Love you all. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.